If you grew up with parents who are strict, or hands-off, or nice but chaotic, or hovering over you like a human drone, this video is going to feel uncomfortably familiar. Because we talk about parenting styles like they're personality quizzes, but in real life, parenting styles are often coping styles. They're what adults do when they're stressed, scared, overwhelmed, triggered, unsupported, or repeating what was modeled for them. But in real life, parenting styles are often coping styles. They're what adults do when they're stressed, scared, overwhelmed, triggered, unsupported, or repeating what was modeled for them. Today I'm going to walk through the 5 classic parenting styles, and then we're going to land on what I think matters most: secure attachment, what it is, what it looks like, and how to build it in real life. The research tradition behind these styles goes back to developmental psychology, particularly the idea that parenting varies along 2 big axes. The first axis is warmth/responsiveness. Do you notice me? Do you soothe me? Do you make room for my inner world? And the second axis is structure or demandingness. Do you guide me, hold limits, expect follow-through? With that in mind, let's do the 5 styles, starting with the one that people often confuse with the good one. Authoritarian parenting. Obey first, feel later. Authoritarian parenting is high structure, low warmth. Rules are rules. Questions can feel like disrespect. Explanations are optional. And the emotional vibe is often, do what I said because I said so. What it tends to produce is kids can become compliant, rule-following, even high-achieving on the outside, but internally they may struggle with anxiety, low self-trust, and difficulty making decisions without external approval. They learn safety comes from not messing up. And here's why parents end up here. A lot of authoritarian parents aren't trying to be cruel. They're trying to create safety through control. Sometimes it's cultural, sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's no one was gentle with me, so why would I do gentle? Here are the pros of an authoritarian parenting style. There are clear expectations and they can reduce chaos. Kids may learn discipline, routines, and respect for rules. In genuinely dangerous environments, structure can be protective. Here are the cons. If obedience replaces connection, the child may comply without internalizing values. Emotional suppression can look like good behavior until it becomes people-pleasing, resentment, secrecy, or rebellion later. The child may learn love is conditional on performance. Here's a way to reframe it practically. The goal isn't no rules. The goal is rules plus relationship. You can be firm without being frightening. Style 2, permissive parenting. This is I love you and I'm afraid to upset you. Permissive parenting is high warmth, low structure. The parent is emotionally present, affectionate, and supportive, but boundaries are inconsistent or absent. Consequences are rare. No feels mean. The child's happiness becomes the compass. This is what it tends to produce. Kids often feel loved, and that matters. But without guardrails, they may struggle with impulse control, frustration tolerance, and accepting limits from teachers, coaches, bosses, and life. Why parents end up here? Sometimes permissive parenting comes from tenderness, but often it comes from guilt, conflict avoidance, or a parent's own unmet childhood needs, like, I'm going to give my kid what I never got, which is beautiful until it means the kid doesn't get what they need, which is stable leadership. Here are the pros. The child may feel emotionally safe to express themselves. Creativity and independence can flourish. The parent-child relationship can feel close. Here are the cons. The child can become the boss, which is secretly terrifying for a kid. Without predictable limits, the world feels random, so anxiety can increase. Entitlement can emerge, not because the child is bad, but because limits were never trained. Here's a practical reframe. Warmth isn't the problem. The missing ingredient is structure that says, Your feelings are welcome, but not every behavior is. Style number 3, over-involved or helicopter parenting. I'll protect you from pain by removing life. Over-involved parenting, often called helicopter parenting, is high care, high involvement, but also high control. The parent hovers, rescues, negotiates every obstacle, and unintentionally communicates, "You can't handle this without me." Research reviews find associations between helicopter parenting and higher anxiety and depression symptoms in kids and young adults, especially when over-involvement blocks autonomy and coping practice. Here's what it tends to produce. The child may look successful early on, good grades, lots of activities, but underneath they may fear mistakes, struggle with resilience, and feel fragile without the parent's guidance. And here's why parents end up here. Usually it's love plus fear. Sometimes it's the parent's own anxiety. Sometimes it's a competitive culture. Sometimes it's a trauma response. If I control everything, nothing bad will happen. As a trauma survivor, I get that impulse, I really do. Here are the pros. The child gets advocacy and support. Problems get solved quickly. The parent is engaged, often deeply. Here are the cons. The child doesn't get enough reps of failing, recovering, trying again. The child may outsource self-trust to the parent. Anxiety grows because the world feels dangerous and the child feels untested. Here's a practical reframe. A great motto for this is support without taking over. Be close enough to help, but far enough to let them build strength. Parenting style number 4, neglectful or uninvolved parenting. You're on your own, kid. Neglectful parenting is low warmth, low structure. It can be physical absence, emotional absence, or both. Sometimes basic needs are met, but the child doesn't get consistent attention, guidance, or attunement. This style is consistently linked with poorer outcomes across domains because children need both care and guidance to feel safe and develop. Why parents end up here? Sometimes it's addiction, depression, overload, poverty, untreated trauma, or parents who never learned how to connect. I'm not excusing it, I'm explaining it, because understanding the why helps us break cycles. Here are the pros, if we're being honest. Some kids become fiercely independent. They may develop self-reliance skills early. But the hidden cost is that independence is often not freedom, it's abandonment-trained competence. The child learns, I don't matter, my needs are inconvenient, don't trust anybody. And that maps directly onto attachment wounds. And here's a way to reframe it practically. If this was your upbringing, it makes sense if parenting now activates grief, rage, or numbness. Self-parenting becomes essential. You're not just raising your kid, you're also re-raising parts of yourself. Number 5, authoritative parenting. I'm in charge and I'm on your side. Now we land on the style most psychologists tend to recommend, authoritative parenting. High warmth, high structure, clear rules, consistent follow-through, and emotional connection. The parent leads but also listens. Limits exist, but they're explained. Independence is encouraged, but the child isn't abandoned. Here's the key. Authoritative parenting is often described as the best style, but it's not a personality type. It's a relationship skill set. It's what you do when you can regulate yourself and stay connected while holding limits. Let's name the issue with how these styles are usually taught. The first 4, authoritarian, permissive, over-involved, neglectful, are often framed as, quote, bad parenting. But most parents who land in them don't think, I'm being harmful today. They think, I'm keeping my kid safe. I'm giving my kid love. I'm preventing future suffering. I'm doing my best with no resources. So instead of moralizing, I want a better target. Secure attachment. In attachment research, a securely attached child uses the caregiver as a secure base. They explore the world, get distressed when needed, and return for comfort. And the caregiver is reliably responsive. Over time, that builds trust, resilience, and a stable sense of self. Here's what secure attachment looks like in real life. Your child knows you'll come back online after conflict. They can be upset without being shamed for it. They can take age-appropriate risks because they trust you're a steady base. They believe deep down, my needs matter and I can handle hard things. Here are a few concrete practices, simple, not easy, to establish an authoritative parenting relationship with your child. The first is rupture and repair. You're going to mess up. The goal isn't perfection, it's repair. I snapped earlier, that wasn't fair, I'm sorry, let's try again. Repair teaches safety more than a flawless performance ever could. Validate feelings, but hold boundaries. You can say, I get it, you're furious, and the answer is still no. That combo, warmth plus structure, is basically the authoritative sweet spot. Be predictable in the basics. Routines, follow through, and calm repetition signal safety to a child's nervous system. Coach coping instead of removing discomfort. Instead of rescuing, this is hard, I'm here, what's your next step? You're giving them the experience of competence. Watch your own triggers like a hawk. This is the self-parenting piece. If your child's tantrum activates your old fear of chaos, disrespect, abandonment, pause and notice. Who is reacting right now? The parent or the wounded younger part of me? Secure attachment often begins when we stop asking our kids to carry our old pain. So yes, parenting styles are useful shorthand, but what changes a child's life isn't the label, it's the lived experience. Do I feel safe, seen, guided? Can I come to you and still be me? If you grew up under one of the first 4 styles, you're not doomed and you're not broken. You're learning what wasn't modeled, and the fact that you're reflecting at all, that's already a generational shift. If you want, drop a comment. Which style shaped your childhood the most, and what are you trying to do differently now? And if this video helped, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you the next time.